Welcome, dear friend, to Arkham Horror, the card game. This is episode 2 of our Dunwich Legacy first playthrough. Very exciting, but we do have a few things to get through before we start actually playing. First, we have to recap. Second, this is The House Always Wins, by the way. Technically scenario 1B, but we'll call it scenario 2 for now. First, we have to recap the first scenario, which was extracurricular activity. Zoe and Rex identified the solution, rescued Professor Rice, and failed to save the students. This means we've earned Warren Rice as a story asset. He's in Rex's deck. Where is he? Professor Warren Rice, here. Let's throw him out and have a look at him. Whoops. Professor Warren Rice, Professor of Languages. 3-cost asset. He has a book and a wild skill commit icon. You get +1 book. He's an ally in Miskatonic. As a reaction, after you discover the last remaining clue in your location, exhaust Professor Warren Rice and draw 1 card. 2/3 soak, and he is an ally. He takes up an ally slot. Disappointingly for this scenario, I haven't yet managed to pick up Charisma on Rex, but I think in between this scenario and the next, I am going to aim for that. Charisma will just mean that we're able to have Dr. Milan Christopher and Professor Warren Rice out at the same time, which does sort of make laboratory assistant, where is she? Redundant, perhaps, but that's a problem for another day. Talking of experience and upgrades and things, let's have a look on Arkham.build and see what's changed. Let's start off with Zoe. I thought it was very, very important to upgrade both of the beat cops as soon as possible. I did want Stand Together, which, if you remember, gives resources and cards to any investigators or you and one other investigator at your location. Just a very economically efficient card, but the difference in efficiency between, or the difference in efficacy between Beat Cop 0 and Beat Cop 2 is light years, so I really felt we had to do this straight away. For a 4-cost ally, Beat Cop unupgraded just feels, I don't know if it's weak, because she did get the +1 fist, but there's such a massive gap that I think taking advantage of that and only having to spend 4 experience, but it's as soon as possible. I think that's the way to go. I have also, and I like this little flourish because this is it's a bit thematic. Brother Xavier, pure of spirit. This guy is religious, as you can imagine, which fits Zoe's theme, which fits Zoe's kind of deck ethos or theming, so I love that. Brother Xavier, 3/3 soak. He's an asset ally. You get 1 head, which has combinations that I'll talk about in a second. Brother Xavier may be assigned damage and or horror dealt to other investigators at your location. As a reaction, when Brother Xavier is defeated, deal 2 damage to an enemy at your location. Not as offensively solid as level 2 Beat Cop, but has more of a defensive aspect as well. And I'll show you what the combo is, or what the combo I'm thinking of. We got rid of leadership for that. Leadership, the more I looked at it and I got a comment about it, I realized that having a card that is sometimes worse than unexpected courage and sometimes only a bit better, which has such, a stringent condition or conditions to make it live up to its full potential just feels a bit restricting, so I got rid of that. The Brother Xavier combo that I'm thinking of is Rite of Seeking. So Rite of Seeking, you investigate using your head instead of book. If we have Brother Xavier out, that means we're on 5 head. So we're effectively investigating with 5 book at locations, which for a Guardian is absolutely wild. Not too much else to say, apart from this is the end of Zoe's deck. Just have a quick look at that if you're interested, and I'll move on to Rex Murphy. Rex Murphy has, as we mentioned before, added Professor Warren Rice into his deck, and with those 5 experience, we've only changed out 1 card. I really felt like keeping 2 unidentified strange solutions in my deck was going to be an absolute waste of 2 cards. And although it is expensive and we might have liked to have a charisma already or perhaps upgraded something like a deduction, I put it into strange solution acidic ichor. And also, I don't know if it's actually the best decision to make, but I just kind of like the researched cards. I like the whole idea of that. Crucially though, acidic ichor, I actually should, let's have a look. I can show you all versions. There is a freezing variant. There is also a restorative concoction. So the freezing variant is used for, you can evade with it 4 times, and it means you evade with a base skill of 6, which is nice, and it would be okay for Rex, because he does need to run away. Strange Solution Restorative Concoction, this is healing. You can heal 2 damage from an investigator at your location 4 times over, also kind of strong. But not what we need in this deck, I think. It will be really, really nice if Rex he can already fight a little bit with his, where is it? I've got a plan. I've got a plan. He can already fight a little bit with this, and then with this extra strange solution, the combat one, it means Rex can kind of hold his own in combat, really, which is exciting. And then for the other strange solution, just thinking ahead, I imagine I would upgrade to the freezing variant. I bet the optimal decision is just have both in the combat one, but that feels a bit boring. I wouldn't want to do that. Here's Rex's deck going into the scenario. Obviously, I've shown you the changes, but this is just for a quick overview. We'll get back to TTS now. Okay, what have we done so far? We've done recap, we've done deck building, so for now it's just theming, reading, and then playing, I believe. Let's start with the campaign guide. Scenario 1. The house always wins. Dr. Armitage suggested you track down his associate, Dr. Francis Morgan. He's not sure whether Dr. Morgan is in trouble, but he's not particularly happy with his colleague's present choice of company. He's in the Clover Club, a notorious gambling joint somewhere downtown. Finding the club's exact location isn't easy. You have to grease a few palms just to learn which of the downtown restaurants operates as the club's front. That restaurant is La Bella Luna, a somewhat upscale Italian eatery by the theatre. You change into your Sunday best and make your way there. In front of La Bella Luna stands a man in a pinstripe suit who sizes you up as you approach. "Enjoy yourselves," he says with a snake-like grin as he holds open the restaurant's front door. Beautiful, onto the setup. The first bullet point has already been done for us, so has the second. So has the third, mostly. Each investigator begins play in La Bella Luna. Take Zoe there and take Rex there. Put the Clover Club pit boss into play, that's done. Set aside the following cards, that is also done. Shuffle the remainder of the encounter cards to build the encounter deck. Let's do that. Let's also shuffle our player decks, just to make sure. And a note there reminding us that in Agenda 1A, each criminal enemy gains the aloof keyword, but it only lasts while Agenda 1A is showing. Aloof means that the enemies can be in our location without automatically engaging us. They are effectively passive. We encountered it with the whippoorwill in extracurricular activity. What is this thing up here? Update notification. I see. The Agenda and the Act decks. Agenda 1A. The Clover Club. You've entered the Clover Club casino in search of Dr. Morgan. The club is bustling at this late hour, filled with patrons looking to relax and drink, or make it big. You don't appear to be in much danger. Each criminal enemy gains aloof and forced if an investigator deals damage to a criminal enemy immediately advance, so we don't want to do that. Foredoomed to move this on, we don't have a huge amount of time. Rather foreboding bit of artwork on the left. I imagine that's foreshadowing for something to come, and I don't like it one bit. La Bella Luna, our first location. Actually, before we turn that over, we should first look at the token scenario reference card. Skulls are -2. You may spend 2 resources to treat it as a 0 instead. Cultist is -3, but if you succeed, gain 3 resources. Tablet, which we do have 1 of because we failed it to save students and had to add it to our bag for the rest of the campaign. Tablet is -2. If you fail, discard 3 resources. Let's draw our initial decks, 5 for Zoe and 5 for Rex. On Zoe we've drawn... whoops. This is a look behind the curtain. I actually have played about half an hour of this scenario and had to restart because of some rules misinterpretations. So I have to fiddle with all the options again. On Zoe we have Drawn to the Flame, Vicious Blow, Physical Training, Rite of Seeking, and Vicious Blow, 2 of those. Probably want to get rid of at least 1, I'd imagine, if not both. And on Rex we have Deduction, we have Rex's Curse, get rid of that and redraw. Deduction, Perception, I've got a plan, Inquiring Mind and Magnifying Glass. No allies. We'd obviously like to get a Dr. Milan Christopher. Let's say we hard mulligan on Zoe because we need to get weapons. I understand that Rise of Seeking could be good, but it's rather expensive, and there's no point really getting it down unless we already have a weapon down. 5 for 5, see what happens. Evidence, 45 automatic, bandolier, smite the wicked goes. We draw one more. Emergency aid and delve too deep. It's not great, I have to say, but we'll accept it because we can't do much else. Deduction we get rid of. We want a hard mulligan for allies, I think, but we keep perception because it will pay for itself on a card replacement idea. Keep magnifying glass because you can't go wrong with +1 investigation book. 3 more cards, please. So we drew psychosis, that gets switched out. Ooh, I see. Professor Warren Rice. Our final hand is perception, magnifying glass, Warren Rice, laboratory assistant, and mind over matter. Not the strongest opening hands I've ever seen, but let's now look at La Bella Luna. La Bella Luna was a multi-purpose establishment. The music is cliché, and they only serve spaghetti. As far as covers for underground speakeasies go, it's not particularly creative. I like the slightly world-weary tone there. Like the feeling is they wish they'd run into some useful, creative criminals for once. This is a 2-shroud location with 2 clues, and you can resign here. This was a bust. I know exactly what we're going to do with at least Rex. We are going to play magnifying glass. Well, let's have a look at the state of the board. I understand because, as I say, I played a bit of this scenario just now and had to restart. But Clover Club Pit Boss is 3, 4, and 3. Humanoid Criminal Elite. Prey is the highest book. Of course, that being Rex by quite some margin. Hunter. Forced after an investigator at Clover Club Pit Boss's location gains any number of clues. Clover Club Pit Boss, which feels like a tongue twister but isn't, readies, engages that investigator and makes an immediate attack. Bad enough, but it also would move on the agenda, which would suck. Thus, in the next enemy phase, this Clover Club Pit Boss is going to walk to La Bella Luna, not engage anyone, but just move up for us. Let's remove this. By the time that happens, we want to have stayed in La Bella Luna on both investigators to draw him over and played some assets to progress the state of our board. It's also shuffle these cards back into our decks. With Rex, we play magnifying glass. We also play Professor Warren Rice. Together they cost 4 resources and 2 actions. Then for our last action on this first turn, we investigate. At the moment we'd be testing 4, naturally, +1 from magnifying glass, and +1 from Professor Warren Rice, 6 versus 2. 6 versus 2 is about as good as it gets for us, though we would like to get a -2 or better, so that we over-succeed and get both clues. 6 versus 2, let's go. +1, 7 versus 2, we definitely succeed and we definitely get both clues. Now, a few things happen. We discovered the last remaining clue, so exhaust Professor Rice, draw a card. We got Dr. Milan Christopher, crikey. That's wild. Which one's better, I wonder? We get both clues, we turn over the action card, and nothing else happens, that's it. This location is now cleared out, thankfully. Our plan still looks like it's going to work. Rex's turn is over. We obviously play the 45 automatic on Zoe. Feels like a no-brainer. Do I risk playing Delve Too Deep? I think for some fun, we do. Let's do it. We play it. We spend a resource. We also spend an action. This is not a good decision, but I'm hoping that we can draw. The enemies that we do draw will be aloof. They won't be attached to us. Most of them won't be. Let's see what happens. Each investigator draws 1 card from the top of the encounter deck, then add Delve Too Deep to the victory display. Let's do that now so we don't forget. Draw on Zoe, a Banyan's thug. See? He's a criminal, he's aloof. Fantastic stuff. And on Rex, we drew Cursed Luck. Put Cursed Luck into play in your threat area. You get -1 skill value during skill tests. If you succeed at a skill test by 1 or more, discard this card. Well, we hope to over-succeed anyway, so I think that kind of is a bit of a thorn in our side, but it aligns with what we're trying to do anyway. And that's 1 more victory point. That's 1 more experience in between scenarios. And it wasn't really like there was much else we could do. For this last action, we draw a card, I think. Physical training. Not what we hoped to see, but I suppose it's not completely dead weight. What would we have liked? Emergency cash might have been nice. An ally as well might have been nice. But we can't pick and choose, that's the name of the game. On to the enemy phase. The Clover Club pit boss moves up towards us because he's a hunter. How scary. The upkeep phase, we have drawn Perception on Zoe and a Guts on Rex. Nothing too exciting. Mythos phase, we add a Doom. We're on 1 out of 4. We draw encounter cards. A mobster who is here and is aloof, stacking up very fast, but not on us, thankfully. Something in the drinks. Each player who has had a drink loses 1 action. Well, no one's had a drink so far. Get rid of that because it has Surge and draw another card. What is it? Twist of Fate. I like that artwork. Reminds me of lockpicks. Reveal a random token from the Chaos bag. Let's just do that first. -1. If you reveal any other number, take 1 damage. Okay, can we put it on Professor Warren Rice? We can, let's do that. We should get in the habit of it. Mythos phase done. Nothing too scary, happy about that. Investigation. Ooh, we want to move with both of our investigators basically anywhere else apart from La Bella Luna entrance. Let's go with Zoe first, to the Clover Club Lounge. Comfortable leather couches, mahogany furniture, and an array of beautiful art greets gamblers, tempting them into the life of the would-be affluent. 2-shroud location and no clues while it is Act 1. Gains. Spend an action. Discard an ally asset from your hand. Gain 2 clues from the token pool. Limit once per game. Okay, well, Zoe doesn't have any allies in her pool, which sucks. Would it be worth it to draw for them? I very much doubt that's worth doing. Nothing to do here, I guess. The choice is Clover Club Bar or Clover Club Card Room if we're moving away, and we will be. Thematically, Zoe would not be going to the bar. Zoe enters the Clover Club Card Room. As you approach the card room, the clinking of poker chips and the shuffling of cards is punctuated by shouts of revelry and frustration. Your thoughts are nearly drowned out by the racket. 3-shroud, 0 clues again. Again, while it's Act 1, Clover Club Card Room gains. Spend an action, spend 2 resources, reveal a random chaos token. If it's an Elder Sign symbol, gain 2 clues and 2 resources. If it's an even number, gain 2 clues. If it's an odd number or symbols, nothing happens. Right, well, we don't have any resources to be spending, so I guess we can't use our final action for that. Should we be trying to draw for emergency cash, or is this a case of sitting and getting resources? I think it might be a resource jobby, because our only objective so far is to get clues. And this helps us to get clues more than drawing any cards would be. I mean, what's a 1 out of 26 chance of an emergency cash? Doesn't feel good. So his turn is finished. Rex, what are you going to do? You're going to move to the lounge, of course. You are going to discard an ally asset from your hand. Now, which one? Realistically, the only thing that matters is which has more skill icons to commit, and they're both the same. I guess we get rid of Dr. Milan Christopher. Well, we don't have space to use him. We have no charisma yet, although I will be picking it up soon. Let's get rid of Dr. Milan Christopher and get 2 clues. That also does take an action. At least now, though, we're on 4 clues out of the 8 that we need to move on to advance. For X's final action, he goes to the bar, Clover Club Bar. The shelves behind the bar sag beneath the weight of all manner of bootleg drinks, cheap ales, moonshine, expensive bottles of wine, aged whiskey. If only you had a couple of hours to kill. 3-shroud and again 0 clues while it is Act 1. Clover Club Bar gains. Use an action to spend 2 resources. Gain 2 clues from the token pool and draw 2 cards. Remember that you have had a drink. So that relates to the something in the drinks from earlier. Next turn, I think. Next turn. Our go is finished. Not a huge amount happened. We didn't even do any skill tests. The enemy phase, Clover Club Pit Boss moves towards us, as does neither of the others, actually. This Clover Club Pit Boss is going for Rex as well, remember. Victory point, Awooga, so we should look to try and kill him. Basically, as soon as this agenda deck moves forward, I imagine. Obviously, we don't want to do it now, but we want to get rid of him, otherwise he's going to be sat on Rex the entire game. Upkeep phase, we have drawn Emergency Cash on Zoe, that's interesting, and another Guts on Rex. What are the chances? Mythos phase, we added Doom, 2 out of 4. We have a little bit more time and we start drawing our encounter cards. Swarm of Rats on Zoe, engages her, gains a resource. We gain a resource, fantastic. On Rex, O'Banion's Thug, which is aloof at the moment. Fantastic news. Probably one of the best Mythos phases in Arkham Horror history, I imagine. I don't see how anyone could have done much better than that. Anyone, that makes it sound like I had any hand in it. Don't think anyone could have experienced a better time than that. We're on investigation. We obviously run away with Rex to here. And then I guess we just start testing. We just start trying to get 2 more clues. Let's do it. We move with Rex. That's one action. He doesn't have any assets that he needs to play, whereas Zoe kind of does. Therefore, I think we should lean heavy into getting these clues in the card room with Rex. We just roll. We start spending and rolling. 0, which is an even number. Is 0 an even number? Well, it's not an odd number, so I guess it'll be classed as even. We gain 2 clues from the token pool anyway. That's fantastic. We immediately... Oh no, we need 2 more. Shit. Hang on, I knew we had clues. 2 from the Clover Club Lounge by discarding Dr. Milan, and then we got 2 from the Clover Club Bar, which I guess we didn't add to ourselves. Is that right? We're now on 8. We definitely should be on 8. We got 2 from the first location, 2 from here, 2 from here, 2 from here. That is 8, unless my maths fails me in a supremely embarrassing way. Now we shall do as we've been told, which was to immediately spend them and advance, remove all those clues and advance. Act 1B, High Roller. After speaking to a number of gamblers and servers, it seems as though Dr. Morgan has had quite the run lately. Instead of cashing out his winnings, he was convinced to double down. He was last seen entering the guarded hall near the back of the card room. I always thought it's weird how Americans say servers. It is basically saying servants, isn't it? It's basically saying servant, bring me food. I mean, I know mechanically they're doing the same thing as what I would call a waiter, but it does just feel slightly more hierarchical, doesn't it? It feels odd. Well, to me it does. Put the set-aside darkened hall into play. Let's do that now while we remember. One at a time. Darkened hall, let's put it there. If it is Agenda 1, it is discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a criminal enemy is discarded and spawn that enemy in the darkened hall. Let's do it. Rats are not criminals. A mobster. We're happy with mobster. 222, humanoids, criminal, syndicate, retaliate. That's a bit annoying. After mobster attacks you, lose. After mobster attacks you, lose 1 resource. Only does 1 HP damage. I think we're happy with that. I bet that's the weakest criminal enemy in the deck. It has to be. That was all we had to do. I think it was, yes, not too much. Act 2A. Skin Game. Dr. Morgan is somewhere in the private section of the club, where only VIPs and the club's managers are allowed. If you were to find him, you're going to have to sneak or even fight your way in. We have a new objective. Only investigators in the VIP area may spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance. We need 4 of those clues. I don't imagine we'll be backtracking to get clues. I think we just push on and we hope for the best. Rex does have 1 more action left, though. I don't really want to move Rex to the mobster first, because then we're going to have to spend an action to draw his attention with Zoe, and that doesn't feel good. But maybe this is the way of things. We also want to deal with this Clover Club Pit Boss for the experience point, don't we? I think this is fine. I think losing an action to be further away from all of these enemies. Kind of think that there might be a condition. Do you remember in The Gathering where the act deck or the agenda deck, one of them moves along and then suddenly all the ghouls gain Hunter and move towards the parlour? Feels like it's setting us up for something like that, so I think we just keep pushing inwards and hope for the best. So for Rex's last turn, he just goes here, which, it's Agenda 1 or it's Agenda 1. Each criminal enemy is still aloof, so we do have time. Zoe's turn. Of course, we will deal with the rats. We're testing 4 versus 1. I don't think we want to use our gun. 4 versus 1. Wow. Okay. Hey, man, that just goes to show you sometimes you should use the gun to kill the rats. Annoying, has to be said, because I really would have liked to have moved further into the Clover Club, but that's all right. Test again, 4 versus 1. Oh, okay, 4 versus 1. Test again, 4 versus 1. Is that ridiculous? God, it feels kind of ridiculous. Alright, 4 versus 1, let's see what happens. 4 versus 1, -3 from occultists, we do succeed, and in succeeding we gained 3 resources, which is a bit of a consolation prize. The rats get discarded. It took us 3 whole actions to deal with them, and we don't get to move away from the card room. Where is the VIP area? Not in play yet, I guess. Do we have to wait for the agenda to move on? I guess we do. I suppose because we can't get into the back of the club through the darkened hall. This guy, I love it. The game, the design and the theme. It told us when we turned one of these over. Was it here? If it's Agenda 1, you have to find a criminal enemy and put him in the darkened hall. So this is like a doorman, and he's keeping an eye out. While all our criminals are aloof, we can't get into the back of the club. Obviously, if we try to force our way through, then some alert would be rang, some bell would be rang, and then everyone would become aggressive to us instantly. Fantastic, I love it. For now then, we're happy because there's not too much else to do until the agenda moves on to the enemy phase. The Clover Club pit boss moves towards Rex. Or actually, he's not engaged. Does he stop at Zoe? Potentially he does. But what we do know is that he's not engaged with anyone at the moment. He's just sort of tracking us. Upkeep phase. We are getting a full hand on Zoe quite soon, so we'd like to play some cards. I guess that emergency cash, although we are so flush with cash, maybe we don't need the emergency cachet. Flashlight on Zoe and a laboratory assistant on Rex. Kind of useless. We've now got 2 of them, and they are a bit dead weight. We definitely need a charisma after this scenario, I think. Mythos phase, we added Doom. Now the next Mythos phase after that, the Doom will progress. So I guess we hope we don't get an Ancient Evils here, and then we have a free turn. Alright, Swarm of Rats on Zoe, another resource. And Twist of Fate on Rex. Reveal a random token, let's do it. A skull. That was bad, wasn't it? Take 2 horror. Alright, we'll put them on Dr. Why do I get you on Dr. Professor Warren Rice? Could have spent resources to treat it as a 0 instead, but I don't think that's worth it. While we've got some soak, we might as well use it. Rex in general can take a bit of a mental beating too. Investigation. Now, this is going to be quite an interesting turn. There's basically nothing for us to do unless we were gambling. Well, maybe we should have been gambling here, actually. Perhaps that's what... No, we can't gamble there because the Clover Club pit boss is there now. And we couldn't last time because it took us 3 actions to deal with the rats. We're just going to have to wait to find somewhere else to get our clues, I fear. Well, it's going to be an asset playing and consolidation turn. Though Rex doesn't really have any assets to play, which is a bit disappointing. Does he really just sit there and get 2 resources and a card? That feels crazy. Can't get any clues here because the Clover Club pit boss will engage us and we don't want to advance the agenda deck, blah, blah, blah. So, what do? We get our flashlight into play, perhaps? Although, are there going to be any clues on locations, or is it all going to be like the card room and the lounge and the bar, perhaps? We have so much money, let's get down a physical training. I feel like you can't go wrong. When you do have cash to spare, can't go wrong with the physical training. Do we have this swarm? Is that a new swarm of rats? We should deal with this first before we play physical training. Pretend we didn't do that. 4 versus 1. I think we should commit a bandolier. 5 versus 1. It seems insane, but I don't want a rerun of last turn. 5 versus 1 we test and we got a 0 success. They get deaded. Now pretend we played physical training on that second action. For our last action, we want to draw the Clover Club pit boss even deeper into the Clover Club, I believe. My mouth struggles to get round that word, Clover Club. Yeah, that's our 3 actions done. I think that's acceptable. Suppose we perhaps would have liked to have pulled a machete and got that down as well, perhaps, or our second 45 automatic. But can't be helped. For Rex, as I said before, the only thing we can really do is draw a card, Ward of Protection, okay, and then get 2 resources, which is just insane. I can't believe that that's the right thing to do, but it is the right thing to do. We're just biding our time. If we did anything else, we'd move the agenda deck on, as I've said, for perhaps, I think that might be the 50th time, but I have to keep reminding myself of it. Ward of Protection, by the way, I don't think we've used this so far. Fast, when you draw a non-weakness treachery card, cancel that card's revelation effect, then take 1 horror. Good for some nasty encounter deck mitigation. Right, weird turn, for sure, weird turn. Move on to the enemy phase. Does anything happen? Clover Club Pit Boss does move towards us. Upkeep phase. Rex's hand is now completely full. Ooh, delve too deep. But it's very, very dangerous to dangle right in front of me at this moment when we're already kind of swamped with enemies. And we did get that machete on Zoe. Second weapon is never a bad thing, especially when the first one has a limited amount of uses. Mythos phase, we added Doom. Now the agenda does move on. Let's see what happens on this. Oh, I picked them all up. Pick 1 up, thank you. Agenda 1B. On the right track. Your questioning has drawn the attention of several men, hired thugs by the look of them. Francis doesn't want to be bothered, one of them says. We suggest you leave the premises before we force you to leave. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. If the players have completed extracurricular activity, I have. Advance directly to Agenda 2B. Let's do one thing at once. Shuffle the agenda discard pile, the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck, and then move straight away to Agenda 2B. Sudden chaos. You hear a crash from somewhere outside and screams of pain in the lounge. A terrible monstrosity smashes through the entrance to the club, crushing the stairwell and knocking over gangsters and patrons alike. Spawn a random enemy from the set-aside Hideous Abominations encounter set and spawn it in the Clover Club lounge. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Let's draw 1. What do we get? We got a conglomeration of spheres. 164 Monster Abomination. Prey, the lowest head, Hunter. It's going to come after us. After you perform an attack against the conglomeration of spheres using a melee card, discard that card. Right, so Machete is absolutely useless against this. Does 1 HP damage and 1 sanity damage. This spawns in the Clover Club Lounge, I believe. Where was it? It does, Clover Club Lounge. Shuffle the rest of that encounter set. The set-aside Striking Fear encounter set. Ooh, God. Shuffle. Ooh, I'm pathetic in the way I move about this mod. It's almost embarrassing. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Everything is in the encounter deck. Move all investigators and unengaged enemies from Labella Luna to the Clover Club Lounge. Remove Labella Luna from the game. The mobster goes to the lounge. O'Banion's thug goes to the lounge. And Labella Luna gets removed, so we can't resign. I presume there's going to be another way to resign, though. There usually is. Agenda 3A. Chaos in the Clover Club. Amidst the chaos and confusion, the strange abominations attack everyone in the club. Screams echo through the halls as the blood begins to spray. Forced, at the start of the enemy phase, discard each criminal enemy in the same location as an abomination enemy. Collateral damage, I love it. 7 doom needed to move that on. Now, things have happened. The criminals are no longer aloof, which means we get engaged. The mobster is going to go onto Zoe, because we can choose, we get another resource. And the Clover Club pit boss is going to go onto Rex. We will have to evade or find some way to evade him. No manual dexterities in our hands, so that is a bit worrying, actually. Perhaps we just draw the aggro with Zoe for that one. But that was only the doom. We have yet to do our encounter cards, our encounter decks. What am I doing? Adding unlimited doom. Draw on Zoe. Conglomeration of spheres. Oh! It's horrible, right? It's got to be horrible. On Zoe. Oh, it's nasty. Get a resource at least for engaging, thank you very much. And on Rex, arousing suspicions. Shit. Place 1 doom on each criminal enemy at your location. Okay. 1 doom on this mobster. We can deal with these at least. We can get that doom gone before it has too much of an impact. Nasty stuff though, or it could have been much nastier. We were in a bit of a worse situation. But that is now the end of the mythos phase, thankfully. Investigation. I think this is when the scenario gets hard and when we have to start doing a bit of thinking. We know we want to kill the mobster as soon as possible, or are we saying we want to kill the pit boss as soon as possible? Realistically, I think what we do with Zoe, this might seem crazy. Something's gone... Okay, lads, I have made a grave mistake. Although, again, like with all my mistakes, I've just made the game harder for myself. When I went into the Darkened Hall, obviously, I should have read it, and then I should have flipped it. Look at this. Darkened Hall. When Darkened Hall is revealed, put into play the 3 set-aside back hall doorway locations. So all that nonsense about waiting around and not moving on the agenda deck, we could have been exploring the back halls. But I live with my decisions because I don't want to restart this scenario. Let's put them in the boxes for neatness' sake. We need to deal with these enemies at our location first. On Zoe's turn, she can take a bit of a pounding, a bit of a beating. So we can use her actions to free up Rex, and I think that should be our priority. This means we attack the Clover Club pit boss twice. Testing, of course, versus 3. Testing 5 versus 3, which is okay odds. That's 75% on both. I don't even think we engage unless we miss our second attack. Let's do it. -2s or better, please. Skull. -2. Success, but 2 damage on the Clover Club pit boss. That was 1 action done and also an ammo spent. I'll spend another ammo. We're testing 5 versus 3 because of the +1 from the 45 automatic. And what we should really do, spend some of this outrageous cash that we've got going on physical training. So let's do that. At the moment we're testing 5 versus 3. Let's spend 2 resources to test 7 versus 3. Of course the auto fail. What else? We probably deserve that. Let's test again. 5 versus 3, plus 2 resources, 7 versus 3. It's a -1, we succeed, thank God. The Clover Club pit boss is no more, and Rex is free to move about and do whatever Rex is going to do. It did take all of our actions on Zoe, though. A little bit worrying that we can't deal with things so well. I guess there's not much we could have done. Okay, this turn, Rex needs to get some of these cards out of the way. Rex needs to move into one of these locations and get some damn clues. Let's move him into the Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. That's the short version of the song. Let's go to the top one. It is the back alley. Resign, we can get out this way. A steep, narrow staircase ascends to a second unmarked door. To your surprise, it leads into a back alley behind La Bella Luna. This must be where they smuggle in their goods. Not quite sure why that's a surprise to anyone who's worked in hospitality. There is often a back door in buildings. This has a victory point, awooga. Let's see if we can get both these clues with 1 action, and then move back into the Darkened Hall to get ready to go to the second location. Taking stock of what we've got, we have 4 book, -1 from Cursed Luck, 3 book, +1 from Magnifying Glass, +1 from Warren Rice, 5 book to start off with. Testing 5 book versus 1, which means we don't actually need to commit anything. But as I say, I need to get rid of cards. Let's get rid of laboratory assistants. We're never going to use them. Both of them. I mean, that's insane. We're just throwing cards away, but why not? Well, we could have just discarded them when we drew more cards, I suppose. Anyway, we're testing 9 versus... Is it 9 versus 1? 4, 3, 4, 5... 6, 7. 7 versus 1. -4 takes us to 3 versus 1. Hey, it was good to commit those, because we needed to over-succeed to get both at once. Fantastic stuff. 2 clues off the back hall doorway. Flip this little thing over, and Cursed Luck gets rid of as well, or we get rid of Cursed Luck, and we draw a card because of Professor Warren Rice. Madness, it is a deduction. For our final trick, we move all the way back to the darkened hall. One, to consolidate our investigators, but also it's the only way to get to the other 2 back hall doorways. And that's our go done. We're about to get smacked around a little bit, I fear. Conglomeration of Spheres does 1 and 1 to us. We don't have any allies to soak it up. The mobster attacks us. 1 damage again and takes a resource off us. Nothing attacks Rex. And this Conglomeration of Spheres kills a Banyan's thug and the mobster, right? And then moves 1 space towards us, which is rather ominous. Look at this guy, O'Banion's thug. He's cowering in a corner, absolutely terrified, as well as he should be. The Conglomeration of Spheres has luckily gone straight past the doorway to get to his hiding spot. The upkeep phase, we have drawn Brother Xavier on Zoe. Don't think he's going to come in useful. It might be too late in the scenario, really, but good to have. And an Inquiring Mind on Rex. We add a Doom to the Mythos counter. We add a Doom to the Doom counter in the Mythos phase. And we start drawing our encounter decks, Frozen in Fear. Oh, it's horrible. It's really nasty. The first time you perform either move, fight, or evade, it costs 1 additional action. We'll be testing 3 head at the end of the round to see if we can discard it. But for now, it's going to mean that we can't make as much of a dent in Conglomeration of Spheres as we wanted to. And for Rex, what have we got on you, boyo? Twist of Fate. Draw. A skull. Isn't that too horror? That is too horror. Okay. Starting to make a dent in our formidable sanity. Not a bad Mythos phase. On to the investigation. Now, luckily, there wasn't any investigators drawn on Rex, so he doesn't have to worry about being held up when he wants to move. Let's just take Rex's turn first. He can't really contribute to anything to do with Zoe, so let's just bring him out of the danger zone. Take him to the back hall doorway, this one. Art gallery. Exotic art and antiques adorn the walls of Peter Clover's private gallery. An evening breeze rustles the worn pages of a ledger back and forth. 2 Shroud location has a victory point, Awooga, and there are 2 clues. Forced, after you fail a skill test while investigating the art gallery, lose 2 resources. I wonder what the theme link there is. Can't immediately see it. Feels a bit tenuous, but they've got to put something on the card, I suppose. We test, I guess, and we hope to succeed by 2 or more. It is a 2 Shroud. We're on 6 already. Let's throw a perception at it. 8 to 2. -1. Fantastic stuff. We get both clues, meaning we can turn over the act deck if we're in the VIP area. Okay. We also, if you remember, exhaust Professor Warren Rice and draw a card because that was the last clue at this location. It is a strange solution, acidic ichor, which means Rex can actually contribute to the fighting. We used up 1 action to move and 1 to investigate. We used perception too, so we draw another card. I've got a plan. Rex is getting really into the violent side of things. For this last action, I think we get an acidic ichor out and we start contributing to the fighting, because this Conglomeration of Spheres is going to move onto our darkened hall next round. I don't think we want to be fighting 2 at once. It feels really nasty. Let's do it. Acidic, ichor, play it. Let's go in our hand slot. No, it's slotless. Ooh, whoops. Costs a resource, and that's our last action. Now on Zoe. We're not going to be able to kill Conglomeration of Spheres this turn. Is it worth making a dent in it? Perhaps, although I think it might be more savvy to kill the mobster so we don't take that 1 damage and lose 1 resource. Ooh, I don't know, man. Actually, on the next turn, the Conglomeration of Spheres is going to move into us. Does it kill first? Does it kill and move, or does it move and kill? At the start of the enemy phase, so it kills and moves. That mobster's going to last another turn at least. I think we just get rid of the mobster, man. It's going to take 2 actions. We'll be testing 5 versus 2. Let's spend an action to test 6 versus 2 instead. We really need it to succeed, just to whittle down the pack a little bit, thin the pack, thin the herd. 6 versus 2. A tablet -2, that is a success. The mobster just dies. We needed to deal with him. Just, I don't know, I guess take the doom off the table. It wasn't immediately dangerous, but it didn't feel good. Then for her last action, she attacks the Conglomeration of Spheres, testing 5 versus 1. 5 versus 1 we're happy with. That means anything but an auto fail. It will do 2 damage if we allow it to. 5 versus 1, a skull, -2, we succeed. 2 damage out of 6 on the Conglomeration of Spheres. It's going to take a while, but that's all we can really do on our turn. At the end of my turn, test 3 head. It's very important that we succeed this. Can we commit anything? I think we commit Brother Xavier. We're not going to be playing him, are we? That means 5 versus 3. 0, we succeed. Frozen in Fear gets discarded. That's our go done, I'm afraid, and we haven't killed the Conglomeration of Spheres yet. Already done any damage to speak of to him, and we've ran out of bullets on our 45 automatic. Okay. Enemy phase. Conglomeration of Spheres wreaks havoc in the card room and then moves to us because he's a hunter. Ooh! And the Conglomeration of Spheres in the darkened hall already does damage to us, 1 and 1. The Conglomeration of Spheres that moved onto us does damage as well, 1 and 1. Christ! And still no manual dexterities to run away with on Rex, so we can't exhaust these horrible things either. Well, you can see how quickly everything goes wrong upkeep phase, and we are 1 card over on Rex. What do we get rid of? I think we get rid of a Guts. I don't see us using it. We drew evidence on Zoe and a Mind Over Matter on Rex. It's interesting, although it doesn't give us any bonus damage, which I guess it could be good to run away with, actually. We might just use it to evade one of these Conglomeration of Spheres to buy us more time that we're not taking damage on Zoe. Mythos phase, add a Doom, draw encounter cards, Rotting Remains on Zoe. Let's spend a resource to shore up our numbers so we test 5 versus 3 instead. And can we commit anything? No, not really. 5 versus 3 will have to be good enough. -1, success. Actually, I think I should have spent more money on that. That could have been awful if we got a -4 or an auto fail, for instance. Anyway, it can't be helped. Arousing suspicions. There are no criminals at my location, so we lose 2 resources. I think we're happy with that at this stage. We're kind of rich. We don't have too many assets to play. We don't need them. Don't need to play them. Right, let's think about this. On our investigation phase, we really would like to kill this first Conglomeration of Spheres. I think that means we need to do 2 damage. Rex does have 4 clues, meaning his I've got a plan would do the 4 damage that was necessary. So we move, right? 1 action. We use I've got a plan for 3 resources to test 5. I'm doing this very slowly so I understand. 5 because of Professor Warren Rice versus the 1 of Conglomeration of Spheres, meaning anything but an auto fail is a success and wipes it out instantly. -1. I think I kind of would have liked to get an auto fail there. It would have felt very Arkham. Conglomeration of Spheres is dead. There is a victory point on this, if I'm not mistaken. There is not. It just gets discarded so they can come back. Horrible news. Absolutely horrible news. That was Rex's second action. Which for the last one? Is there any way we can do 6 damage to this conglomeration of spheres with these cards that we have out? We have 1 action on Rex and 3 on Zoe. Zoe's only going to be doing 3 damage max in her turn. So can Rex do 3 on his? He has another. I've got a plan. I guess that's for next turn. What we're going to do is take the aggro of this conglomeration of spheres onto Rex with our last action. And that feels a bit of a weird thing to do. We succeeded this guts, by the way, didn't we? So we draw a card. Preposterous sketches. Cool. It might seem a weird thing to do. I'm trying to balance resources. Rex has basically got 6 HP to get through, whereas Zoe has only got 3 more horror that she can take. I think it's better to take the damage on Rex for now, even though Rex maybe would have liked to go to what I can presume is the VIP area under this last back hall doorway. For Zoe's turn, what are we going to do with Zoe? Do we just smack away this conglomeration of spheres thrice? I think we might. And then we use the acidic ichor. That's going to do 2 damage a time. We only need to hit this conglomeration of spheres twice. Let's do it, man. We're testing 4 versus 1. I don't see why not. 4 versus 1, let's go. -2, we succeed. That's 1 singular damage on the conglomeration of spheres. 4 versus 1, let's go again. 0. Another damage on conglomeration of spheres. We are making slow progress. That was 2 actions. I think we'd like to get this machete out, not for the conglomeration of spheres, but for anything else that comes our way. Is that right? Or should we draw cards to try and find our 45 automatic? There's 21 cards. It's not going to be high odds. Or do we do something that I haven't done yet and heal ourselves? Not necessary, I don't think. But what I would like to do is go on Google and ask if, as a group on this act card, means that everyone has to be there, or does it mean that everyone with clues has to be there? Because we could just send Rex there and leave Zoe here. I'll be back. Alright, happily enough, if you're not contributing any clues to moving the act deck on, you don't need to be in the location. It should make the second half of this scenario perhaps a little easier. We're action compressioning anyway. I don't like going back and forth. It just reminds me of extracurricular when you're going to those. They're all on dead ends, all the locations, and you're going to and fro too much, and it just wastes time. With our last action, what do we want to do? I think we do draw cards. I think we hope to get the 45 automatic, as ridiculous as that sounds. Zoe's cross. I mean, that's not bad. I think we're happy with that. We have got very, very full hands that we'll have to whittle down. We'll be forced to in the upkeep phase anyway. It is the enemy phase. What's going to happen? The conglomeration of spheres attacks Rex Murphy. Does 1 and 1, which we can definitely soak and we're quite alright with. Upkeep phase. Unexpected courage on Zoe and Rex's curse on Rex. Put Rex's curse into play in your threat area. Ooh, I shall do so. When you would succeed at a skill test, return the revealed chaos token to the bag and reveal a new chaos token. If this effect causes you to fail the test, shuffle Rex's curse into your deck, limit once per test. Interestingly enough, because there's a fly in Rex's ointment in the artwork, this is going to be a fly in the ointment for dealing with this conglomeration of spheres. It might mean that it takes 3 actions instead of 2, and will waste supplies, potentially, which is unideal. We are over, though. We have to get rid of cards. Let's get rid of deduction. There aren't really any clues to get. Although there might be clues in here, the VIP area, I suppose. And to get rid of, on Zoe, evidence, I think. Yeah, let's get rid of evidence. Or flashlight, one of the two. Flashlight has 1 book. Evidence. We already have an evidence ready. I think we get rid of this 1 evidence. And then we're under the limit, 8 out of 8. We add a doom to the doom counter. We draw encounter cards. I'm getting good at this. I'm getting quick. Swarm of rats engages us. We get a resource from it. On Rex, we draw cursed luck. It's not great if we're supposed to be fighting next time, but at least we're fighting the conglomeration of spheres, which has a low combat value or fight skill. We've seen this before. You get -1 skill value to tests, and you need to succeed by 1 or more to discard it. We can deal with that, but it might have some weird interactions with Rex's curse. They might amplify each other. I'm not sure. That was a very good mythos phase. Couldn't really have gone much better. On our turn, we attack the swarm of rats. We test 4, using a resource 5, versus 1. -1, we succeed, the rats die. We would quite like to play Zoe's Cross, just to get ready for any enemies that might come later on. And for our final action, do we just keep drawing cards and hope that we get a 45 automatic? I actually kind of think we do. Let's do it, man. Guard Dog. It could come in handy. We haven't got an ally out yet, and we have the resources to play it. Okay, Zoe's turn done. Actually, maybe I should have moved Zoe into here. Yeah, I think I should have, but I'm not going to take it back because we've had information revealed. What was Rex going to do? Rex was going to attack the conglomeration of spheres with all his acidic ichor might. You use an action. Let's take this slow. You spend 1 supply. Let's go. You fight with a base fist skill of 6. This attack deals +1 damage. We need to do this 2 times successfully to kill the conglomeration of spheres. We're testing as 5 because of cursed luck, unfortunately. 5 versus 1. Let's go. -1, but Rex's curse we have to draw. We have to return the chaos token to the bag and reveal a new one. Let's do it. 5 versus 1. It's a skull. We succeed, which means nothing happens with Rex's curse, and we do indeed do 2 damage to conglomeration of spheres. And we just do that again for our second action. We're testing spend a supply. Test 5 versus 1. We go an Elder Sign, but we have to return it to the bag right because of Rex's curse. Ooh, I wonder if we get to resolve the Elder Sign and say we fail it, but we draw. No, we don't want to draw cards. We have a full hand. Okay, return it. What do we? Auto fail. Of course we do. At least Rex's curse gets shuffled into our deck, though. Oh, horrible stuff. For our final action, when did we use? How many charges were there? There are only 3. Okay, we use our 3rd supply then to attack conglomeration of spheres. 5 versus 1, see what happens. -1, we succeed. Thank God, we needed that. Otherwise, we'd have really been stuck. All our actions, though. It's dreadful news. We did over-succeed as well, so cursed luck gets got. Onto the enemy phase. For once, there is nothing happening in the enemy phase. Blissful. May you live in interesting times, I don't think. Upkeep. We have drawn a vicious blow on Zoe. That's disgusting. I definitely shuffled it, right? I'm sure I pressed shuffle. I'm going to check back on the replay. Hang on. I had shuffled, and Rex's curse just got shuffled to the top. That is disgusting. I can't believe it. And we have to clear out space on Zoe's side of things. Let's get rid of that flashlight now. I really don't see it coming in too handy. On to the Mythos phase. Add a Doom. Okay, it is kind of heating up. We really need to get this going. We need to get in here, do whatever's in here, and I guess end the scenario. Spend 4 clues and then run to the nearest exit. I wouldn't be surprised. Encounter card. Dissonant voices on Zoe. A bit annoying, but not too. Dissonant voices on Rex, on both of them. Alright, no enemies, which means we can't get slowed down at least. Now, what would we like to do? Let's move Rex into this last place. 1 action. Should click this. VIP area. The coppery smell of blood assaults your senses. The floor is littered with broken glass, and the upholstery has been torn to shreds. Where is Dr. Morgan? 3 shroud, and there are 2 clues. While you are in the VIP area, you cannot draw cards or gain resources during the upkeep phase. There is a victory point though, so it might be nice to clear this place out of clues. Let's spend, though, while we can, because then we can see what our next objective is. Spend all our clues and turn over this card. Act 2B. Dr. Morgan's Fate. The VIP rooms are filled with mangled and bloody bodies of unfortunate patrons. There doesn't appear to be any trace of Dr. Morgan. You hear screaming and gunfire from the main area of the club. Put the set-aside Peter Clover into play in the Clover Club bar. Okay, the owner, I guess. Let's have a read of him. He is holding all the cards. Very good-looking chap. Humanoid criminal. At the start of the enemy phase, if no investigator controls Peter Clover, deal 1 damage to him. If we do control him, as a fast action, we can exhaust him to automatically evade a criminal enemy in your location. Not wildly useful. Would have been useful much earlier in the scenario, I suppose, but not necessarily now. What else do we do? Search the encounter deck for an abomination enemy and spawn it in the Clover Club bar. Advance to Act 3A. Fold. Let's get this abomination out of the... What did it say? Did it say search for? Search the encounter deck. It did indeed. An abomination. Well, looks like the only one I don't recognize is Servant of the Lurker. Put him in there. He looks horrible. I'll show you this in a second. Hang on. Servant of the Lurker, 452. Prey is the lowest boot. Hunter. When Servant of the Lurker attacks you, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. Victory point, Awuga, 2 HP and 2 sanity damage. Foul. Absolutely foul. And if we have to fight our way through him, I will be most disappointed. I'll be most disappointed. Though we do have a machete that we can use, because he doesn't rebuff our melee attacks like the conglomeration did. Anyway, advance to Act 3A. Act 3A. All in. With or without Dr. Morgan, you have to get out of here. Fast. Now there is no Dr. Morgan. Right, he's not here, that's the point. Yeah. But while Dr. Morgan is not controlled by a player, he gains Parlay. Test 3 head to shake Dr. Morgan out of his daze. If you succeed, place 1 clue from the token bank on him. If there are 2 clues on Dr. Morgan, take control of him. Alright, this takes a bit... So if each undefeated investigator has resigned, advance. I think we're supposed to just resign at this point. But is it worth it? Are we supposed to save Peter Clover as well? Do we just move on to him to save him? I think we do. Right, we're for Doom. Zoe has all her actions. She could move. Servant of the Lurker is going to move to the card room next. But we can't play any assets or events. I think this might just be a get-out-of-dodge situation. Peter Clover is left to his own devices. If we could play a machete this turn, if we didn't have dissonant voices, then I perhaps could justify going for Servant of the Lurker on the next turn, but it's going to be so late by the time we get to it. We're going to be on 5 Doom, and then we have to get to the back alley and spend an action to resign, which means we have to start our last turn in the darkened hall. I don't think it's doable, to be honest, but we will try and wring out as much, because I looked when I was looking in the encounter deck, there are no ancient evils in this one. So we have a better idea of where the Doom is going to come from. I guess we clear out back hall doorway with Rex. We bide our time. We hope that the Servant of the Lurker comes to kill us. Perhaps we don't save Peter Clover, but we do try to kill Servant of the Lurker. That might be the way to do things for the victory point. Anyway, it's still Rex's go. He has 2 actions left. One of them, of course, is to investigate the VIP area, clear it out for the victory point. So let's do that. It's a 3 shroud. At the moment, we are at 6 book. Let's up that. Hey, we could do a delve too deep as well if we're on the biding our time type deal. That can be next turn, perhaps. Right, 6 versus 3. That's of course not good enough. So what do we want to commit? Let's throw preposterous sketches. That's a 1. We're now on 7 versus 3. And that's good enough. But we'd like to succeed by 2 or more, of course, because we want to get both on 1 action. Let's throw Inquiring Mind at it as well. We're testing 10 versus 3, but we have to succeed twice over, don't forget. 0. Okay, it's our first success, and then a +1. Wow, 11 versus 3. We get both clues. We also draw a card because of Professor Warren Rice. It's Holy Rosary. Not so useful at this point in the game, but maybe when we're using, maybe when we're trying to deal with Delve Too Deep, I don't know. That was our second action. Let's now just move towards the darkened hallway with Zoe ready to see what happens next turn. Zoe's turn. What's she going to do? She can't do anything. She can't play, assets or events? Is she really just going to sit here? Surely not. Sit here and gain 3 resources or just churn cards? Churning cards might be the way. Let's draw a card. Prepared for the worst. Could be useful for pulling a 45 automatic, maybe? Let's draw a card. Well, that negates the point of prepared for the worst then, doesn't it? And let's get a resource, I guess, for our last one. I don't know what to do there, really. Those 2 dissonant voices put a right spanner in the works. That's our entire go. Enemy phase. Servant of the Lurker moves towards us because he's a hunter, but also Peter Clover takes 1 damage. Little bit worrying. Upkeep phase. Another prepared for the worst. Well, we don't need that. Let's get rid of both of them and also get rid of an evidence. I think we're out of clues, I imagine. Mythos phase. Add a doom to the doom counter. It is getting a little bit close for comfort. Perhaps we aren't able to kill Peter Clover. Let's draw encounters and see what happens. Rotting remains. We should have discarded both of these dissonant voices. We're testing rotten remains. Now, we do not want to fail this. We throw an unexpected courage at it, definitely. We are 6 versus 3. And 6 versus 3 is not good enough. We use a Holy Rosary. From Rex, very kindly. 7 versus 3, let's do it. 0, well, we didn't need to do all that, but it was safe and probably right to do so. Hunted down. If there are no unengaged criminal enemies in play, well, there are. If there are 1 or more, each of them moves 1 location toward you. Each criminal enemy then engages you. That engages you as a result of this effect. Okay, they're not going to, but this does mean the Abanion's Thug moves towards us. It's a little bit annoying, actually, because I had wanted to dip into Clover Club card room and just shoot Servant of the Lurker as much as possible. But that means also Abanion's Thug is going to engage us and attack us. All right, well, it's something to think about. We have, let's think about this really, really, really hard. We know that we need to get to back alley, the back alley to resign. It costs an action, which means, what was I talking about before? I said that you needed to start the last turn in Darkened Hall. That's not true at all. You need to start the last turn in the Clover Club card room. So what we could do, I might big brain this. Zoe Samaras, this is a plan. I'm not doing anything yet. This is a plan, and I think I might be a genius here. What we would do, we'd move Zoe Samaras into the Clover Club card room. 1 action. Oh, she has to spend an action equipping Machete. We basically have this turn, because this is 5, and then the next turn, and then it's the end of the scenario. I'm pretty sure it's the end of the scenario. Look, there's no card under this. I don't want to turn it over, but it'll be, the conglomerations destroy the building and suck you up into a portal to nowhere and everywhere and all time at once, and you never see the light of day again. So we don't want to waste our time. We have this whole turn, and we have a next full turn. On the next full turn, as we said, we need to start off in the Clover Club card room. Zoe can move here for 1 action. She can then commit, or she would first be equipping a machete. Oh, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Machete's only going to get the bonus damage. Actually, she could equip the 45 automatic. But then she can only attack the Servant of the Lurker once. And then are we saying that Rex is going to come in? This actually might work. What? Rex comes in. 1 action. Uses, I've got a plan, to kill Servant of the Lurker for the victory point. 2 actions. What about his last action then going to Clover Club Bar? Is that insane? That means that on our next turn he is 1 location away from being able to resign safely. We don't want to do that. But what if? What if, man? What if he drew? Do we have Shortcut or Pathfinder or something like that? Wouldn't that be insane? I think we do. Let's check. I will shuffle this up. Oh, we have 2 shortcuts. We have 2 shortcuts. Oh, I so dearly want to risk it, but I think it's a stupid I think it's a stupid decision. What about... Okay, I think we forsake Peter Clover. We can't go and rescue him. He's just too far away from the exit. I think if we'd have done the scenarios the other way around, because we skipped an agenda here, or an act, so I think you would have had more time. Perhaps we could have saved Peter, but not for now. What we should do in actuality is sit in Darkened Hall, equip cards, wait for the Servant of the Lurker to come and attack us, wipe it out in one turn, and then jump over to back hall doorway. Can it be done? Say the Servant of the Lurker moves here in the enemy phase. It then engages onto, let's say, Zoe Samaras, so that we can do 1 damage with Zoe's cross. That takes it down to 4, which is unbelievably doable. That's 1 attack from Zoe, and then something like I've Got a Plan from Rex. Does feel kind of risky though, doesn't it? Let's see how this turn pans out. We play, on our first action, a machete, or no, 45 automatic, makes sense. We don't need to worry about having a slightly cheaper asset. Let's just have the simple one. That cost 4 resources. We then also, should we play Guard Dog to make this guy even easier? It's tricky, man. And then are we gonna use this Delve Too Deep? It would be insane, wouldn't it? It would be absolutely insane. We play the pistol. We play the Guard Dog as well. I don't really know why, but we're just getting assets out there. That's our second asset. We then also probably emergency aid ourselves. No, that doesn't make any sense. And play the emergency cash, really, so that we have resources if there was a wild card that came round next turn, or we can boost ourselves on physical training. Plus 3 resources, and that's our go. Done. Now it is Rex's turn. Am I really going to delve too deep for the victory point? Yeah, I am, I think. Let's play it. Delve too deep. Let's go. 1 resource. This is ridiculous. In player order draw. We drew. Hunted down. Ooh. Okay. A Banyan's Thug moves towards us. He engages... It was Zoe's encounter card. So engages Zoe. That's 2 HP already. And I have an idea. We exhaust Zoe's cross, spend a resource to do 1 damage. We then also, we take away these 2 damages. We put 1 of those damages on Guard Dog and 1 on ourselves, and then the thug is dead. Not that that's a big deal at this point, but we have dealt with Zoe's half of Delve Too Deep. On Rex, what do we got? Something in the drinks. We did take a drink, didn't we? Ooh. We lose an action now. That's fine. I thought we'd lose an action next turn. And we lose an action now. That's okay. Delve Too Deep seems to have worked out. Let's put it in the victory display. 1 more experience for us. But this is a surge. Ooh. Swarm of rats. It's not so bad. We can take a hit from it. We can even let Professor Warren Rice take a hit if we need to, but I don't think we do. Okay, that was a good use of our time. Now, how do we prep to kill the Servant of the Lurker next time? Let's go over this. 1 action to move, 1 action to escape. We have 1 action on both of our investigators next turn to kill Servant of the Lurker, and we hope it works. Servant of the Lurker, by the way, is going to attack Zoe. Need to keep that in mind. Rex has enough resources to use I've Got a Plan. That would do 3 damage in total. Taking it to 2, that is very, very good. We can also commit, what could we commit? We could commit Inquiring Mind. No, there are no clues. We could commit a couple of Mind Over Matters to boost our... Interestingly, Mind Over Matter doesn't have a book icon. I thought it would have. It does not. We can throw a Water Protection at it, perhaps. Okay, we know we need to do damage with both of our investigators if we are to win. We're definitely... going to be able... It's going to move here in the enemy phase, which means this Zoe's cross is not going to be upkept, but Guard Dog will have done its damage. In fact, you know what, has there been new information? I don't think there's been no new information. I think we actually... there's been new cards. Shit, don't worry about it. I thought we could bring back the thug and maybe use the Zoe's cross on the Servant of the Lurker instead. We can commit a perception to help out Rex's... I've got a plan. All right, man, we're risking it, but what can we do on this last action of Rex's? Do we just attack Swarm of Rats? Yeah, I think we do. I think we attack it and we're using... Should we use a mind over matter? No, let's commit a machete from Zoe, which means we are at 3 versus 2. We need to succeed twice. Any fists? Let's commit 1 mind over matter too. We're at 4 against 1 now. This should be all right. Well, swarm of rats lives... Oh, I discarded it accidentally. I'm so used to just beating it in one go. Swarm of rats lives to fight another day. Ooh, things are going to get a bit scary. Enemy phase, servant of the lurker, comes across. It instantly engages Zoe and attacks Zoe for 2 and 2. We're going to put one of those damages. This isn't exhaust, is it? No. We're going to put one of those damages on the guard dog to do 1 damage to the lurker. We're going to take one of those damages. We're going to take 1 horror and kill the dog. That dog's not going to have a use. Put the horror on the dog, the other horror. Upkeep phase. Oh, we have to discard 2 cards as well, right? Yeah. A guts and a beat cop. Upkeep phase, we have drawn... This is really scary. Internal injury on Zoe. At the end of your turn, take 1 direct damage. Oh, direct damage is all right for Zoe. We'll suffer that. On Rex, we drew another I've Got a Plan. Isn't that 3? Have we already used I've Got a Plan? Hang on. Did we not? Did we not fight with I've Got a Plan before? Have I cheated? Somehow it feels like we have. I can't have had more than 2, can I? Anyway, what are we drawing on our Mythos phase? At a Doom? This is too close, really. This is silly. I shouldn't have done this. Swarm of rats. Okay. Oh, internal injury. We also need to take some damage. Swarm of rats on Zoe. And a rotting remains. Did we take the damage from this swarm of rats on Rex? When did we draw it? I don't think we did take the damage. Let's do that. We drew on Rex a rotting remains. That's okay. He can deal with horror damage. Okay, we test versus 3, but we would like to succeed. Let's throw a guts at it. 5 versus 3. And let's throw... Let's just do 5 versus 3, see what happens. Tablet, -2. If you fail, discard 2 resources. Well, we have to draw again and succeed again. We fail. We fail and we lose 1 horror, 1 sanity. That's okay. We can deal with that. Right, this is the turn. One of these, 1 action, we have 1 action on both of our investigators, and we need it, we need them both to succeed. This is just, there's no planning. This could just be death for us. Zoe can't afford to get hit once. On Rex, we use I've Got a Plan. Correct. We play it. It costs 3 resources and an action. We fight using book, and we deal 3 damage if it succeeds. We are testing 4, 5 because of Warren Rice. 5 versus 4. It's not even that great. We need to throw some book at it. Let's throw a ward of protection at it. We're testing 6 versus 4. Let's throw a perception at it. We're testing 8 versus 4. Anything better than an auto fail. And we win. And we win. And we do what Rex needs to do this turn. Oh my gosh. Let's throw the other. I've got a plan at it as well. There's no point. Well, let's go 9 versus 4. Oh! 9 versus 4 go. Anything but an auto fail. Oh, thank God. Cultist -3. If you succeed, gain 3 resources. Well, that's the least important. Oh, we have to be successful twice. 9 out of 4. Put it back. Skull, success. Okay, but we don't get the resources. The lurker takes 3 damage. Rex needs to move, 1 action, and Run away, one action. He has resigned. Rex is out of the picture. Zoe is here. She needs to do damage to the lurker with... Well, she needs to succeed on this test, basically. At the moment, we're on 4. We'd be using our bullet, so we're 5. Let's throw a vicious blow. 6. Let's just throw everything. 6, and then we're up against 4 from the lurker, right? The servant of the lurker. At the moment, we're 6 versus 4. We need to be at least 4 up. So let's spend 2 resources from physical training, and then we're now at 8 versus 4. Anything but an auto fail. Ooh. -2. I don't even feel elated. I sort of just feel relieved. I don't feel like I've succeeded. I feel like I've just dodged something awful. For reference, by the way, this is not... I acknowledge that I don't think this is the right way I should have played this scenario. Why am I pushing for those delve too deeps when we're already on such shaky ground? And could have, if I didn't push my luck, if I didn't mess up with the darkened hall location nonsense, maybe then I could have got Peter Clover, perhaps. So I hope he's not, too useful later on. What does he do? Automatically evade a criminal enemy in your location. Is that useful? Aren't we going to, the middle of nowhere? Are there going to be criminals? I guess. But I'm not sure Peter Clover is going to be that handy, and do we get to keep him anyway? I don't know. That was our action. We killed the servant of the lurker. Fantastic stuff. We got a victory point, though it was probably undeserved. We then move once, taking an attack of opportunity off the rats. Hey! Ooh! Do I die? No. Surely not. Surely not. Alright. What I'm going to say, I'm fine with dying. But I'm not fine with dying if I know I've shagged myself earlier in the scenario with rules decisions. So this business with the darkened hall, I'm going to say we would have had at least one action more had we not sat at the darkened hall and, what did I say, smugly consolidated our assets or something, or bided our time for 3 turns. Let's say that I would have been able to deal with the swarm of rats. Because I wonder if I take the attack of opportunity from resigning. Oh, I don't! You don't get attack of opportunity for resigning, so we live with 1 health and 2 sanity remaining on Zoe Samaras. But we succeed, we're out. And all in all, apart from this Peter Clover business, it feels like we've cleared out the map, even though we waited far too long in the darkened hall. What I find with Arkham Horror is the start of the scenario is very exciting and it's mysterious and intriguing. The meat of the scenario, the middle, is exciting because you're making all these decisions and the game state changes all the time, you have to adapt to it. But I never find the end particularly exhilarating. Like you finish a race or you win a sports match, there is that exhilaration as you hit 21 in badminton or you cross the finish line. In Arkham, I don't really get that. It doesn't mean I don't enjoy it, but it always just feels like the end of the game is a bit of a damp squib, and this is often the case with any board games that I played, whether on a screen or not. The scenario is ended, and we look at our resolutions. Which resolution is it? It's on the back of All In. Let's have a look. I see. So when it said advance, this is okay. This is okay. This is fine. When it said advance, it said advance to fold. I just saw the 3A bit of it. So it's talking here about having to parlay with Peter Clover. We wouldn't have done that anyway, man. So let's just flip fold and see what's on the other side. If an investigator resigned with Peter Clover, we didn't. Otherwise, R1. R1 doesn't feel great. That's just the kind of resign resolution, isn't it? Well, let's go. Let's see what happens. Resolution 1 is page 30. You flee to the end of the block and pause to recover. Before you can catch your breath, the ground shakes with a thunderous crash. People emerge from their homes and storefronts to see what the ruckus is, and a crowd forms on the street. You head to the front of the crowd and are horrified to see the building from which you fled just minutes earlier reduced to rubble. There is no sign of Dr. Morgan anywhere. In your campaign log, record that the O'Banion gang has a bone to pick with the investigators. Cool, I love that. O'Banion gang? Bone to pick? In your campaign log, record that Dr. Francis Morgan was kidnapped. Dr. Francis Morgan? Kidnapped? It's amazing how badly your typing is when you can't see it instantly. What do we got? O'Banion gang bone to pick. That's spot on. Dr. Francis Moran kidnapped. If any player cheated, we didn't. I sort of forgot that mechanic existed, to be honest. Maybe I could have made a use out of it, but I don't think it would have been worth adding an Elder Thing Chaos token to the Chaos bag anyway. For the whole of the campaign, I've already got an extra tablet in there. Each investigator earns experience equal to the victory X value of each card in the victory display. Each investigator earns 1 experience as he or she reflects on the night's events. As they reflect on the night's events. It's amazing that I wonder in the later campaigns if that's changed. I wonder if that has, documented the kind of shift in public perception of just, he or she, just throw a they in there, man. It's easier, it's simpler and more inclusive. That is, by the look of it, 8 total experience for both of our investigators. Those two delve too deeps coming in very, very clutch, I think. Did we get all the experience points from enemies? I think we might have. There was nothing else left in the encounter deck that was big, right? Yeah, nothing else. Alright, it says to proceed to Interlude 1, Armitage's Fate, 38. Wonder if it's better to save this. Interlude 1, Armitage's Fate. I was not unconscious. I think it's... No, this is about earning bonus experience. Okay. Interlude 1, Armitage's Fate. When you arrive at Dr. Armitage's home in Southside, you find him sitting at his desk, pale-faced and sweating with worry. He is grateful to you for searching for his colleagues, but he doesn't seem relieved. With a long pause, he straightens his glasses and explains, "I'm afraid I must apologize. There's something I didn't mention to you earlier." Dr. Armitage then spins a tale you would scarcely believe had it not been for your harrowing experiences earlier that night. In your campaign log, record that the investigators rescued Dr. Henry Armitage. Any one investigator may choose to add Dr. Henry Armitage to his or her deck. This card does not count towards that investigator's deck size. Wonderful, I'll show you that in the deck building portion of the next video because I'll need to work out who to assign it to. But I believe Miskatonic Museum, we are on the next scenario, so thank you very much for watching. Do tell me if I've done anything wrong. I've obviously done a big whoopsie with the Darkened Hall business, but evened it out by letting myself off. Oh no, we decided that we wouldn't have taken damage from the rats anyway. Yeah, that was a big one. That was a big one in this scenario. I do wonder if we could have saved Peter Clover had it not happened, but I'm not going to go back and redo it. But I will be frustrated if later on Peter Clover, because we don't save Peter Clover, then does he give us, if we miss out on like 5 resources at the start of every scenario going forward in the campaign, I'll be dead sad. But if it's something minuscule, I won't be too bothered. That's the end. That's all, folks. I'll see you next time.